Mike?
Carl, it's 5:30 and time for our meeting for March the 19th. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Remley.
Here.
Ronayne. Lunsman.
Here.
Slade Hansen.
Here.
Johnson. Bunceness.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Rux. Mayor Leibson.
Here. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would entertain a motion to approve last week's minutes, please.
Moved. Second.
Motion Bunceness, second by Olson. If there are no changes in the minutes, all in favor of approving, then say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Mike Bockerny is here from the Development Corp to speak for what he's doing for our open forum tonight. So, Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Won't take up too much time. Just wanted to give an update based on when I was here last time. I had mentioned that we were working with these couple of agencies to bring in additional business leads for us. And just wanted to give you a quick update. The one that's working on a national scale started in earnest at the very end of last week on Thursday. And we've received already 3 very strong interests from companies that are out of state, which is good to see. And all 3 of them were for very different reasons. So we've just initially just started discussions. But I thought it was interesting to note why the different 3 reasons. The first one was bad state climate. Their taxes are just too high. So we've realized very quickly that we're targeting a couple of specific states, one of which is, I'm not shy about saying, is Illinois, because they're pretty messed up. A lot of challenges there, really challenging to do business. So we are seeing a lot of positive results out of those businesses. The second one was a lack of workforce which is willing to work, which I found that very interesting, and I spent some time on the phone with that individual. And they are kind of in a, well, they're not kind of, they're in a very large metropolitan area. And the business has been there for about 120 some odd years, a really long time. But the city has grown to be so large, they have this continual just transition there in their workforce, because it's so easy for them to just, it's the city's so big they can just go work somewhere else. So they would really like to get back into a rural setting where they can gain some continuity. So that one was a very interesting discussion with that one. It was then thought the business is on its 4th generation in the family. So they're obviously challenged with, we've been in the same spot for 4 generations. Am I going to be the generation that uproots our company and moves it somewhere else? So we'll work to convince them that that's okay. And the third one was just simply needing additional locations. They've done very, very well. They have 3 locations in a major metropolitan area, and they don't want to do additional locations within that same metropolitan area, and they'd like to essentially get out of the state because the state taxes are just too high. On the other one, with the local venture network, we have a meeting upcoming. From our previous meeting, we had engaged 2 entities, and both of them are still looking very hard at us. They are specifically, again, looking for that rural setting, a city, a community that has 50,000 or less people in it, and both of these entities are currently located in large metropolitan areas that have populations of well over 3 million people. So very pleased with that, and the group that is coming in to the next meeting looks very promising as well. So we're getting some good feedback. Again, I just always remind, and I don't mean to say this over and over, but these things take time. I wish it was really, really easy, but if it were easy, everybody'd probably do it. But they take time. So we're building some good relationships, which is very good to see. Working on existing leads, we do have a few of those. We have the Value Added Ag Company, and they are coming back again. I've lost track of how many times they've been in Aberdeen now. It's a number of times, but they're getting very, very close. I feel they're getting closer. I wish I could define what that actually meant. I'm hopeful that it's here in 2018, but they're coming back again with their full executive management team this upcoming Friday. for meetings once again. And then we've got 3 local entrepreneurs who are very far down the line of starting a new business to our region. This is something that doesn't exist here now, and we've been working with them. It's very exciting to work with all different kinds of folks, but especially those who are growing right here from within. And I think you'll see at least 2, if not all 3 of those happen in 2018. Very, very promising. So things continue to look good. Obviously, we have some challenges. I would tell you guys that most federal policies don't greatly affect us locally, although I can tell you that the unknown on these trade agreements and these tariffs are definitely affecting us locally. We have a lot of commerce that goes from Aberdeen here, especially into Canada, but also down to Mexico and overseas. And the one that really has hit home, and it's just going to take some time to flush this out and figure out how this is really truly going to affect us, is the tariff on steel. We have a lot of companies who use steel here, and they don't always get their steel domestically. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this flushes out. We've seen some pretty massive price increases. And then not only does that affect our local businesses, but it also, and I mentioned these 3 local entrepreneurs, well, we haven't gotten to the point yet with any of them where we've gotten hard bids, where we've got signed contracts. Well, I heard from our local contractors all last week that, hey, just an FYI, we've started to talk about these. Your steel building in price is, you better factor that in. So it's going to cost us more to build as well. So we'll have to, those things are what they are. We have to figure out how to work within the confines of those. It's disappointing, but it is an additional challenge. And then, we continue to look for those leads, and we'll continue to do so. We are continue to, I think, see good things. There are some businesses that are challenged in town, but that's probably always going to be the case. We'll continue to try to help those folks work through. But I think overall, 2018 still continues to look good. So when I get some more information, I'll periodically stop down. And as always, you guys know where I'm at. Happy to, I know some of you guys call me or stop in every once in a while. I can answer maybe a little bit more in depth when I don't have the microphone in front of me on certain items. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Otherwise, I'll get out of your hair so you can conclude your short meeting tonight.
We usually ask you when you're here a progress update on the soybean plant.
Sure. Things continue to go really, really well. Obviously, the weather has been very kind, even though the last time we got snow, it has disappeared very, very quickly. I think if you haven't been out there lately, they're large. I call it a runway. It's really a road, obviously, in and out, but it's really large. Is got pretty much all their equipment on it. So all the equipment's here. It's delivered. They continue to assemble. And then there's going to be some additional storage bins that will go up here in the summertime. Those are made out of concrete. So, things continue to look very, very good. They're very pleased. They're in the process of hiring their first actual person, which is exciting. That may have actually already been done. I haven't heard for sure, but if not, they're very, very close. So you'll start to see more of that come up as well. So, very good.
Anyone else? Any questions, Mike? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, keep up the work. Next on our agenda is our consent calendar, items A through E, routine city business.
Move. Second.
Motion Remley, second by Lunsman. Questions on any of them? All in favor of approving those 4, then say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. And under new business, entertain a motion to approve the Yeldu Shrine Circus event for March 29th through the 31st.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Remley, second by Olson. All in favor of approving that license, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Bills presented for payment from City Department, $794,227. Bournes Group postage bill, $42.22. CenturyLink phone charges, $38.61. A Wellfield payment to the Jacobs, Shirley Jacobs, $37,817. Cell phone and voicemail charges for NVC, $340. Services to Northern Plains Psychological, $540. House of Glass, a battery for a City Hall door, $120. Toilet paper bill for City Hall to Cole Papers, $171. A&B Business Solutions, office supply, $76. Sanford Health Services, paid for $197. A payment to the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance, our liability carrier, and that payment for 2018, $336,667. South Dakota One Call location service, $64. Lab sample charges to Cross Country Freight, $101. Registration for 3 people to the State Code Enforcement Seminar, $150. Rhodes Anderson Airport Liability Policy Premium, $86.62. And oxygen for the ambulances, $119 of payment to Matheson Tri-Gas.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion Bunsen, second by Slade Hansen. Questions on any of those bills? Is that liability, how's that compare to previous?
It's up maybe 1.2%.
Okay, good.
That's the auto liability, property coverage. So it's like 3 different lines that are covered under that.
Okay. Roll call for approval.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Slade Hansen,
Aye.
Bunceness,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
Aye, motion carries. Item C authorizes payroll for March the 4th through 17 in City Sheriff Social Security, Old Age, Survivors, Insurance, Retirement, Health, and Life.
Moved.
Second.
Motion Bunsen, a second by Remley. Carl?
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Bunceness,
Aye.
Slade Hansen,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
Aye, motion carries. Lynn, your report?
I have one quick item I'd like to highlight, and it's a report from our transportation director. I know that you're all well aware of the improvements that have happened out at the airport in the last 3-year period, but this is the first time our transportation director actually put together a graph showing the amount of funds that were placed within the improvement of the airport and how much of it was entitlement and discretionary funds. And as you know, discretionary funds are not a guarantee, and so because of his organized efforts, including Helms Engineering, it placed the city in position to get these discretionary funds. And our entitlements are kind of like annual guarantees, but our discretionary funds were 3-to-1 in that period of 2014 to 2016, where the total improvements out the airport were $12,339,000, and our entitlement amount was only $2.7, but our discretionary amount was $9.5. And so the next time you run into anyone that's worked with Cody from Helms Engineering, as well as Cody himself, thank him for being on top of this to get these discretionary funds.
For the leadership class that's here, when you see a big project like a new runway or something at the airport, that is traditionally and has been for us 90% federal funding, 5% state funding, 5% local. That's so when people talk about cutting federal funding, that's a huge item, federal funding, and they pay 90% of it. And without that particular federal program, local governments would be kind of out of the airport business long ago. Nothing else? Anything from the council members before we adjourn?
Move to approve or adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.